We have Pallavi Ahluwalia, the managing attorney for the law offices in Texas. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
So, we are talking about a lot that's going on in the country. We're seeing a lot happening, obviously, in Minnesota, given the recent ICE shooting where Renee Good lost her life last week. There's a lot of tension, protests, ICE showing up there in the city. And your analysis focuses on two key legal frameworks, one being the federal statute on assaulting and impeding officers, and the other, the DHS use of force policies. So, can we just talk about that first key point and how it relates to what we're seeing and what we should keep in mind?
For sure. So there is in place the um, assaulting, resisting, impeding certain officers of employees. It's 18 U.S.C. 111 that says that that is not allowed. Forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, all of those. And I'm reading from the code, and this is something in play already. Now, we also do have our DHS's memo from February of 2023, where it tells the officers the amount of force to be used has to be proportionate, and it cannot be. So there's also a legal refresher that we got a hands on that was on social media, which is an internal ICE legal refresher, which says that heckling the officers, being rude, or saying things to them are within people's First Amendment rights. So the use of force relating to that has to be proportional.
Yeah.
So those are
Let
the
me
things
ask you
that we're
this real
seeing.
quick. I don't want to cut you off, but when you were talking about that first law, that's a federal law. So it's not a state by state situation.
Correct. It does criminalize assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers or employees of the federal government. And you cannot just do that. I mean, these are people who are in their course of duties carrying on the removal work. They're officers who are currently dedicated to this, and they're given a task every day, which is okay, this is depot work and you have to go. And we expect that while they're doing their job, that people don't throw things at them or, try and hurt them in any way, because they're in the operations of their duties, and it is against the law to do so as well.
Hmm.
You have to, if you have to protest, you must do so peacefully.
And I know it's difficult. Tensions in the country, they're high right now. My husband's a law enforcement officer. And, at the end of the day, my take is you don't have to agree with what they're doing. You may not believe that it's right and how they're doing it or what they're doing. But at the end of the day, you have to have that line of respect.
Yeah, it's their job.
And you can protest, but again, protest peacefully. So as it relates to DHS's use of force and their policy, what does ICE have the ability to do? I've been hearing some other reports and that say ICE is not trained to manage and handle crowd control. So what is the proper use of force that we can see ICE implement?
So use of force has to be objectively reasonable. There can't be a dangerous situation. Operations do need warrants and proper authority to enter private property. Enforcement should also allow the judicial system to function. So the last point is critical because right now it's not working, right? So basically you can, let the people go through their immigration process and deportation proceedings. And if they are found to be, in violation and they have no defense left, then they have to be deported out of the country. So when people are being pulled out of situations, I think their reactions, not only their own reactions, I think they're more of people who are bystanders, and they may be U.S. citizens in play here who are interfering in that. So we have to tell everyone you cannot interfere. The officers also have to be cautioned to make the use of force reasonable. And at the same point, for people who are going and getting they are going through the deportation process, for them as well, they have to comply with orders that the officers are giving them.
Let me ask you this. So last year, we saw people going to immigration court and being detained there. What are we seeing going forward in terms of people that still have immigration cases, or what are they being told in terms of what they should or shouldn't do? Because now, there's fear, I'm sure, for people that are trying to legally go through that process.
And you are absolutely right. There have been assessments that have shown that no-shows have skyrocketed. And it's not because people are running, but because once ICE was in communities as well as in courthouses in 2025, people are taking the risk of not showing up because they don't want to go through the legal process and the hearing, which is they're scheduled for, and they actually are missing those, and they may end up getting in absentia deportation orders, which means that they're removable anyway.
Very interesting. Before we go, is there anything else that you want to just add insight on? I mean, obviously, the focus has been Minneapolis, but a lot of people questioning, if this is going to come to their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So we are seeing that the ripple effects of what's going on and the chaos that we see on all sides is enormous. In agricultural areas, crops are rotting because workers are hiding, and we're talking about farms. We're talking about Louisiana's crawfish operations. That just means that it's going to result in higher prices for every consumer. Schools are also seeing attendance drops because parents, including U.S. citizens, are keeping kids home, which is a little bit concerning because why would you do that? But I truly had a client yesterday who's a U.S. citizen who was just crying in my office. And I literally was like, you're a U.S. citizen, you're okay. She said, but I'm seeing that they're taking U.S. citizens away too. So there is fear that has been created, which has to be alleviated at some point. We have legal standards that exist in the country, everyone's right to protest, but also being careful as to how you do not interfere with operations of the federal officers. So everyone has to respect the line that's drawn there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Well, we thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it, Pallavi.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
It's a tough topic, right? And I have a friend whose husband is here. I don't know what their documentation is like, but he's at least, has the papers
Going through
that he works. And but she just says, I'm terrified to let him leave the house every day. I've got 3 kids at home and I'm nervous if he's going to come home at night, and that he's now carrying his paperwork on him, for some form of safety, comfort. But then, their argument there is we shouldn't have to do that either. There's something called civil rights.
I think you just made such a good point of someone in that situation fearing their husband might not come home at the end of the day. But I'm sure even, our law enforcement officers and these federal agents that are trying to do a job, their families feel the same way.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a tough spot.
Yeah.